What if I told you that the secret to getting someone to like you wasn't about doing things for them, but the exact opposite? Yeah, there's this powerful psychological principle that completely flips everything we think we know about making friends on its head. Seriously, think about it for a second. When you really want to build a connection with someone, maybe a colleague at work, a new acquaintance, or hey, even a rival, what's your go-to move? What does everyone tell you to do? Right. The common wisdom is you offer to help. You do something nice, buy him a coffee. It seems super logical, you know? You put something positive out there, you get something positive back. Well, what if that's not just less effective, but it might actually be the complete opposite of how our brains are wired for connection? This is the core idea we're going to unpack. The real secret isn't in what you can do for other people, but in what you can ask them to do for you. I know, it sounds totally backward, but it's backed by centuries of observation, and it all starts with one of America's founding fathers. So to really get this, we have to take a little trip back in time, because this isn't some new age life hack. This is a piece of timeless human wisdom, proven in the world of some pretty high-stakes politics. Okay, so picture this. Ben Franklin is this up-and-coming guy in the Pennsylvania legislature, but he's got a problem. There's another really influential legislator who just does not like him. He's spoken out against him, and he's a real threat to Franklin's goals. A direct fight would have been a disaster. So what does Franklin do? He doesn't try to win the guy over with gifts or favors. No. Instead, he hears that his rival has this super rare and fascinating book in his personal library. So Franklin just writes him a note and asks if he could do him the huge favor of letting him borrow it for a couple of days. And get this, the rival, who was probably a little flattered by the request, sent the book over right away. When Franklin returned it a week later with a thank you note, something had just shifted. The next time they met, the guy was incredibly friendly. They actually ended up becoming great friends, and their friendship lasted until he died. And that story gave us a name for this beautiful paradox. Asking for help can actually be way more effective at building a connection than offering it. The act of giving is what creates the affection. So the big question is why? What is actually going on inside our heads? Okay, so this isn't some kind of magic. It is pure, fascinating psychology. And it all boils down to our brain's deep, deep need for things to just make sense. This term right here is the absolute key. Cognitive dissonance is that uncomfortable, itchy feeling we get in our brains when we hold two conflicting ideas at the same time, or when our actions just don't match our beliefs. And our brain hates feeling this way. It will do pretty much anything to fix the conflict. So just imagine the little subconscious monologue happening in that rival's head. The first thought is an action. Okay, I just lent Ben Franklin a valuable book. But then there's the feeling. Wait, I thought I didn't like that guy. That clash creates that uncomfortable dissonance. Now, the brain can't go back in time and undo the action, so it takes the path of least resistance. It changes the feeling. The new logic becomes, well, I wouldn't do a nice thing for someone I dislike, so I guess I must actually like him after all. And this, right here, reveals something so fundamental about us. We all think our actions follow our feelings, but so often it's the other way around. Our feelings actually race to catch up and justify our actions. We subconsciously decide that someone is worthy of our time and energy because we've already given it to them. Ultimately, that's what's happening. When someone does you a favor, no matter how small, they are making a little psychological investment in you. And like any investor, they now want to see their investment pay off. They literally become invested in your success and well-being. All right, knowing the science is one thing, but how do you actually use this in your day-to-day life without seeming manipulative or just awkward? Well, it really comes down to just a few simple rules. This is so critical. You're not asking someone to help you move apartments, okay? You're asking for something that takes almost no effort but shows that you respect their specific knowledge or abilities. Think, hey, could you recommend a good podcast on that topic? Or can I get your eyes on this slide for like 10 seconds? It has to be incredibly easy for them to say yes. And look, this can't be some kind of transparent trick. The request has to be authentic. If you're asking for their opinion, you should actually value it. People have a really, really good radar for insincerity. The goal here is to open a door for a real connection, not to fake one. And finally, you have to complete the psychological loop. Your genuine thanks is what validates their action. It makes them feel good about helping you, it reinforces their identity as a helpful person, and it solidifies that new positive feeling they have about you. A simple, warm, "Hey, thank you so much. That was a huge help," is all it takes. Now, it is so easy to see this as just a clever social tactic, a way to get ahead, but if we stop there, we are missing the most important and honestly, the most beautiful part of this whole idea. Let's just be really clear. If your goal is manipulation, people are going to see through it eventually. The Ben Franklin effect is not a tool for deception. That's not the point. Think of it this way. When you offer help, you're putting yourself in a position of power or generosity. But when you ask for help, you're actually offering them a gift, the gift of allowing them to be kind, to be knowledgeable, to be useful. You are giving them a chance to feel good about themselves by investing in you. And that's the profound truth at the heart of all this. Asking for a tiny favor is an act of vulnerability. It quietly says, I can't do everything on my own. I value what you know. I trust you. In a world where we're all trying to look strong and self-sufficient all the time, that small moment of real vulnerability, that is what builds the strongest bridges between people. So I want you to reframe how you see this. Asking for help isn't a weakness, it's an invitation to connect. It isn't taking something from someone, it's offering them the chance to give. So the real question is, who in your life are you going to give the opportunity of a favor to?